names.
And then scroll down to go to let's do the West women. So skip the West men. We'll say that one for last. This I had a bunch of kind of like I don't have making it who are in the top 12. I don't have Haley Herberg of Washington. I don't have Claire O'Brien of Boise State, and I don't have Poppy Tank of Utah. But hey, it is what it is, and this is who I just think is going to make it. You know, the way I kind of decided this was based on how they did at conferences. So I looked at like their 5K or 10K finish at their conference meet, and if they ran well, I was like, oh, they're in shape. And if they didn't run well, I was like, oh, looks like their time is from ways back, and they're not the same type of racer that they once were. So that's how I skipped over some people.
Okay, so say you get all these right, you're a perfect. You have a perfect score. Then we get to the West men, which probably is the most difficult to predict of the four,
and the most exciting. First of all, let's start with the Heat 1. We're going to see Cole Hocker go up against Luis Grijalva and Nico Young in that same race. What do you think? How do you think that's going to play out? How do you think Hocker's going to handle that race? How do you think someone like Grijalva and Young are going to handle that race? It's a prelim. Hocker's coming off the 1500, most likely the 1500 semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that race is going to play out?
I don't think the names that you mentioned are the most important people in terms of how that race will be formed. I think it's going to be the people who want nothing to do with the kick of Hocker, Grijalva, etc. The people who are on that bubble, the people that you have in yellow there, like Mawara, Bolger, Johnson, Ibrahim, Boyden, Shoppy, Sprout, names like that, because they're going to have to get the pace going. And this is why I think it's going to be fast, is because those guys that I mentioned are capable of 13:30 mids. You can see their PRs right there. So if they go out just slightly under PR pace, which is not unrealistic for a race of this magnitude, and then you add on top of that, they're going to look around with 1,200 to go, and they're still going to need to shake some people. And then that's when Young and Herrera are going to want to get a little loose and push the pace. And then before I know it, you got Cole Hocker running a 4.240 to close this thing out, because that's about how fast he was at Pac-12s. So that's what I think. I think obviously they'll advance, and Hocker is not going to want to do much work, nor should he. Same thing with Grijalva. But I think you're just going to see the effect of the cumulative toll of how fast this event has gotten, and the byproduct is going to be a really, really quick race here.
Who do you think wins that heat?
Let me just say, I don't think it matters, because we've been through this
we know that
routine before, and we've seen people win this heat and then move on. I could see probably Hocker, because again, he'll do that little burst, and then he'll get away, and then everybody will be like, okay, he's gone. Let's just look around, and then make sure we're in that top group. In that top,
I don't think Hocker's
top 5.
I don't think Hocker's going to win. He's coming off the 15. I think Hocker is just going to be
like. You think Hocker cares about a double? You think that bothers him at all? The fact that he came up 15?
I think Hocker is going to be like, all right, I've already run 2 1500s in my legs. I just need to get through this 5K to get me to back home in Eugene. And I don't think he's going to be like, try to like Hocker's lost races before, you know.
Let me be clear. I don't think he's going to try to win it. His goal isn't going to be, I'm going to get this dub. I just think he's good enough where he can win this on accident. And the fact that he's got a little bit less experience, you see that sometimes. The younger guys go out and win it because someone like Grijalva, been there before, a little more experience, probably a little better at judging effort than some of the younger guys. So that's what I think. I don't think he's going to want to win it. I think he's just going to win it by accident, because he's going to make that move and he's going to look around and he's going to say, oh, damn, I shouldn't have gone that fast. Maybe I like threw my foot on the gas pedal too hard and I shook everybody. Because then no one's getting – what incentive – like if he has a little bit of a gap in the last lap, what incentive does anybody have to close it? They don't. But I think Hocker just has that acceleration.
I just don't think Hocker. I think I'm going to take the field over Hocker.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. It's a prelim. I'm just saying these things often comes down to like who's good enough that they can win even when they're not trying to win. And I think Hawker's
Grijalva could
skills
do that.
Right, but I'm saying Hawker's skill set leads more to that. Right? If it's you'll agree with me here. I agree Grijalva has an amazing kick, but if it came down to one of those races where it's like 100 meters to go and you're squaring up, like you're taking Hawker in that. We've seen it enough from Hawker to where you take him in that spot. Like that quick burst of speed, I think advantage goes to Hawker, and then he'll make that first move, and Grijalva will be like, all right, I'm fine. I'll coast through. I'll get third or fourth. The second
What
heat,
data
though,
points? What data points are say that Hawker is the fastest in the final 100 meters?
the NCAA indoor mile final, the NCAA indoor 3,000 meter final, the Pac-12 5,000 meter final, all were good.
What about that Oregon 1500 where you got third?
That was more spread out. That wasn't like a rapid acceleration. That wasn't a rapid escalation of pace. That was measured out over a series of 1,200 meters, or by the time you got to 100, 1,400 meters. Also, is Yared Naguse in this race? I don't see Yared Naguse in this race.
Cooper Teare beat him in that race, and Cooper Teare's
Is Cooper Teare in this race?
He's worse than Luis Grijalva. I just don't. I'm saying I just think Luis Grijalva is better runner than Hawker.
I'm just here's what I'm saying.
More,
I'm just saying there's a difference between a kick that we think from 400 out or even extending out to 600 out versus final 200, final 100. And I think you're forgetting how good Hawker was indoors. Yeah, okay, Travis has got it. Johnny on the spot here with Travis. Enhance. Cole Hawker's last 200 meter split. Oh, it's a 25 point. And of course he's showing us outdoors he can do it. It's a different deal than a pace 1500. It's whatever. Let's talk about the second heat. Let's talk about the hit. Yeah. Someone in the chat says, who cares about who wins the prelims? Move along. Yes, I agree. Gordon just wants to argue about something on a Wednesday show.
Well, I just think I don't know. There's going to be
they're not going to. Here's what I'm saying. No one's going to try to win. Hawker is the most likely to win, though, amongst the people who are not trying to win. That's what I'm saying. Right. I'm not saying that's an amazing skill set to have, or that's going to mean he's going to win 10 gold medals in his career. I just mean on this weekend, that's going to be more likely than not. Cooper Teare, Wesley Kiptoo, lClinger in the next seat with Garnica, etc. Break this one down.
So here I basically, the people who aren't seated that I knock out is Brandon Garnica, who's run 13:26 of BYU, Luke Mead, who's run 13:34 of Arkansas. I kick those two guys out. And then I also technically, I guess, kick out John Dressel of Colorado, who's run 13:36. John Dressel is going to be in the 10K, so I think he's going to qualify in 10K and kind of just be like, all right, I'm a 6th-year senior. I don't need to do no doubles anymore. I'm in the 10K. Let's just cruise in this 5. But I think someone like Olin Hacker is a sleeper. He ran well at Big Tens, even though he only has a 13:42 PB. He's coming on strong late in the season. Alec Parsons and Charles Hicks have been a great 1-2 punch at Stanford, and they've been running well. Kind of got overlooked, obviously, in Pac-12 because of the Oregon duo, but they're legitimate. And then, obviously, Teare, Kiptoo, and Klinger. I don't see them, that big 3 in this heat, getting broken up.
This will just be interesting because we don't know how people are going to react to Kiptoo. Again, he comes with a warning label before every race. I agree. Teare, Kiptoo, Klinger. Nobody's breaking those 3 up. I would have Garnica in. 13:26 is 13:26. I would have Dressel in as well. I think the experience matters in a race.
So who'd you take out?
I would put them ahead of the Stanford guys, and I mean ahead of Hacker as well too. But you're right. This is where you're seeing the complete squeeze that this event has, because you're having legitimate debates about whether or not a 13:26 guy is going to qualify. It's insane if you think about it. So yeah, I understand you putting him in. I'm not going to say it's a bad pick. I'm just saying I would roll with Garnica and Dressel in this heat. I don't see any way those top 3 don't advance. And then once you do that, you think, okay, well, there's only max 3 spots probably left. It's tough.
Yeah.
This is tough. If you get all these right, I'll give you credit.
I know I'm not going to get them right. And the reason why I know I'm not going to get them right is because there are going to be scratches that I don't expect. And by scratches, I'm not saying they don't race. I'm saying they go out there and jog 14:30.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be a couple that I pick. And the reason why is because they qualified in the 10K or they qualified in the 3K steeple. So that's going to be, or they qualified in the 1500 and they're like, all right, I'm done. That's the thing you don't know about this 5K is you don't know who truly is trying and not trying.
Yeah.
The only ones you know are trying are all in on just entered in the 5. But outside of that, you just have to hope that they care just as much about the 5s as they do their earlier event. But you never know. So,
well, one guy we know is going to try, and Ross brings this up in the chat. Kiptoo is my bet to win the prelim because he ain't about losing. He's going to try. I think Wesley Kiptoo is going to go for it. And I think it'll be really interesting to see, does he just gap everybody and then there's 2 races, basically. There's the Kiptoo race and then there's everybody else. Or does someone like Teare, does he go slow enough to where Teare goes with him and pulls Klinger along and by default brings 4 or 5 other people along with them? That'd be fun. Or does Kiptoo chill? Does Kiptoo show us something that he hasn't showed us before? How many events has Wesley Kiptoo entered in this meet? Is it 7 or
just
8?
2.
I don't know how many he's in. Just 2? Oh.
I'm kind of bummed, though, about this 5K because there's no Connor Mance and no Edwin Kurgat. Imagine if you threw Connor Mance and Edwin Kurgat also into that field. It would just be an crazy, but,
Yerna Goose in the East? Yeah.
Yeah, throwing Yerna Goose in the East.
You got about 75% of what you want, which in a Kiptoo is entered in the 3. He's entered in the steeple.
No, I think that's just not right.
Okay. Do we have the steeple
because if
entries?
you click, they're not. He's not in the steeple. I think those entries aren't right.
Well, that's no fun.
Yeah, he's not in the steeple. No.
Could it be a stealth entrant?
So I think those times are just like times where they were in the top 90, but they didn't declare. So
gotcha.
The flash results here